Younger Brian wanted to start a business, make money online, become free. So naturally, younger Brian went on the internet and started watching loads of videos. It didn't take long before Brian became convinced that starting a social media marketing agency was his ticket to freedom. So he sat down, he was finally going to start outreach and make this agency. But before he even messaged the first person, before he even sat down to start the work, he felt miserable. Every little step took hours because of how much he procrastinated, and the whole thing just felt like a massive grind. I remember back when I was first trying to grow my first YouTube channel, I'd put so much time into it. I'd made so many videos, I was improving each one slowly, and then slowly the channel started growing and I became so happy that I was finally getting some sort of attention, even if it was 100 views. But then slowly I got 1,000 subscribers, then I got 5,000, then I got monetized, and then out of nowhere my first ever million view video happened. I posted it and that video blew up. And then a month later, I'd got my first ever paycheck from YouTube, and it was over $1,000, which to me at the time was amazing. Not only that, I'm doing something that I actually enjoy doing. Every day I would wake up and actually be excited to solve the problems that I was solving that day. Business doesn't have to be miserable. I remember trying loads of little businesses, creating my personal website, learning game development, trying to be a YouTuber but on other topics. I remember when I was in the stage, you know, every entrepreneur goes through this, where they try just loads of different businesses and they're just trying to see what works. And all of them, I was just miserable throughout. I thought I had a big problem because I thought that I struggled to be productive, that I couldn't sit down and do the work for myself, because every time I sat down to do that work, there was a resistance in my head and I found it really hard to even start it. And I still remember the time that I decided to switch to game development, which is what I wanted to do at the time. But I was stopping myself from doing it at the time because I thought it was oversaturated and I couldn't possibly make money from it. I remember the time when I finally decided to switch to what I actually liked and sat down to work. I finally realized that I wasn't actually lazy. The first day I decided to switch topics to game development, I got more work done in one day than I used to get done in an entire week. I realized that I wasn't being lazy all of those times before. I just wasn't doing the type of work that I could get into a flow state with. And you already instinctively know what the flow state is. The flow state, you sit down to do your work and you're just so immersed in it that you don't even realize time is passing. When you're in the flow state, there's no mental resistance, there's none of that bullshit. It's just pure action and you get so much done when in the flow state. The flow state is the only time you're gonna produce your best work. If you're trying all the new latest business models that are blowing up and you're hating it, how do you expect to succeed if you can't get into the flow state? Someone that can consistently get into the flow state because they actually like to solve the problems in that business and they like the work, they're gonna outwork you any day of the week, man. You're never going to be able to compete with someone that actually enjoys the work if you don't enjoy it. You've been to school, you know what sitting down and doing homework is like on a subject that you couldn't give a shit about. It might be a sheet of paper that should take you like 5 minutes to finish, but it actually takes you an hour because you keep getting distracted, you keep going on YouTube and doing other things because your brain just can't get into it. So don't do that to yourself with your business because you're always going to be outcompeted by the person that loves it. So pick something that you enjoy because you can literally make money from doing anything nowadays. I delayed starting a self-improvement channel for years because I thought it was oversaturated, but you have the wrong mindset if you think this. I had that exact same mindset with my first channel, my game development channel that reached 100,000 subscribers. When I started making videos, I thought they would go nowhere because there was already loads of game development YouTubers. But that's not an issue with the real world, that's an issue in your head with your beliefs. You need to change your beliefs. If someone's already making loads of money with what you want to do, that's not a sign that you can't do it. It's literally the opposite. It's a sign that you can do it. Stop going for the businesses that are blowing up because you're going to hate it. Go for something that feels purposeful or at the very least feels enjoyable to do. Because even if you're doing something you enjoy, there will be hard times. And there will be times where you struggle to get into the flow state. So now think how hard it's going to be if you're doing something you don't like. And there's going to be people out there that are still going to try to do the business models that are blowing up because they think that it's quick money. And then they're going to waste months of their life because they just can't get it off the ground. And if they just manage to do it, if they do, they're going to realize that after the money comes, they're still miserable because they don't actually like the business that they're doing. The next topic I wanted to cover in this video is this notion that you have to work 12, 14 hours a day to be successful. You don't. Before I found out about deep work, that used to be my life. And if you're ambitious, which I'm sure you are because you're watching this video, you're gonna eventually get to the point where you can sit down and you can work for 12 hours. But what you don't realize at the time, if you haven't read the book Deep Work, is that the time spent working doesn't equate to how much output you get from that work. I remember back when I used to sit down and literally work for about 12 hours a day, I still didn't get that much done. I never actually got my task list finished. And there used to be times during that work where I'd spend 20, 30 minutes just distracted watching random YouTube videos. You know what it's like. You're doing your work, you have a second monitor next to you, you just open YouTube on that because you don't think it's going to be harmful. But what that's doing is making you completely lose focus. If you work with YouTube open in the background, you're working to 10% of your potential. I remember the time when I finally found out about deep work and I sat down with intent and I did everything that the book recommends. I got more work done in that 2 hours than I used to get done in 8. And all of a sudden, I was happy because I realized that I didn't have to have a miserable life to succeed at this. Deep work says that the best work you can possibly do can only be done about 4 hours per day. And you might have some mental resistance when it comes to this because 4 hours a day feels like you're being lazy, like you're not putting enough into it. But think about it, you already intuitively know this. If you sit down and you try to work for 8 hours straight, you're not going to get that much work done. You're going to work for 1 hour, 2 hours, and that's when the real work gets done. And then after that time, your focus is going to drift. And even though you might be good at not getting distracted, you're still not going to get that much work done after that. I still remember when I used to sit down and I used to plan to work 8 hours a day. I used to get all the important work done in the first hour or two. And then instead of recharging for an hour or two to get my energy back, ready for the next work block, I used to try to keep working. But what really happened is I just stared at the task in the task list and did all of the tasks that were easy and didn't really make an impact. You know deep down that this works. So try it. Try deep work because it will change your life. Don't forget why you want to build this life for yourself, why you don't want to work a 9 to 5. You don't want to go from one prison to another prison. Don't create a prison for yourself. The point of this is to be free, do whatever you want. And you can't do that if you're doing something that you're not enjoying or if you're sitting down and working for 12 hours and not living your life. And if you want to work a lot, that's fine. That's what the freedom's for. If you want to do that, go ahead. But remember, you have a choice of what to work hard on. So pick something that you enjoy or that you find purpose in, because otherwise you're going to be just as miserable as before. Pick the model you enjoy and stick to it, because the model you enjoy is the best business model for you. People won't tell you this. When the business model blows up, they try to convince you that that's the best one to start, but that's not true. The best business model to start is the one that you can work hard on, the one that you enjoy and you find purpose in, because that's when you'll actually get your best work done, not in the business model that's blowing up right now. And I've been there. I know the pain of wanting more out of life, of being trapped in the 9 to 5 or being in university and just having that thought in the back of your head that if you don't get something done soon, you're gonna have to start the 9 to 5 life. You might have worked for months on end and not got results yet. I know that when I used to try to make it every day, there would be little doubts in my head. What if I'm wasting all this time right now? What if I could be doing something else? What if I don't make it? Don't believe all those thoughts, bro, because if you pick something, you stick to it and you keep improving, it's only a matter of time. It does get better and you will get there. So don't fall into the trap of creating another life that you want to run away from. Create the life that you want to live, because you have a choice to pick anything you want. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Brian, and this isn't a YouTube channel. This is a movement of people who are driven and want something more out of life. They don't want to follow the ordinary path. I've gone through quite a big transformation myself, and if you want to see what I used to look like, go on the community post of this channel and go on the first one. If you haven't seen it, you might laugh at it, because I used to be quite a big boy. So if you resonate with this message, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one, bro.